Okay, boxing fans, this is my post-fight thoughts on Kate Stevens versus Gennady Golovkin stoppage, end of round 8, where Golovkin retains his titles. Firstly, look at the photo, caption the photo, what is going through Kate Stevens' mind. Right, back to the fight. This was not the highlight reel KO stoppage Abel Sanchez promised us really, but then again, to be honest, Kate Stevens didn't fight the way they expected, and in their post-fight, even they said Kate Stevens was a lot tougher than they thought he would be, which says a lot. You know, throughout the first 3 rounds, Triple G basically shown a lot of respect to Kate Stevens' power. You know, they were both very wary of each other, they both used a high guard, worked off the jab, but you know, all the rounds pretty much Triple G won. Anyway, this is in round 2, and this is the funniest thing going. I mean, this always happens, right? The crowd starts to chant, you know, USA, USA, US. You know, as Triple G lands a monster left hand hook, you know, brilliant. Dropped Stevens like a sack of shit, and it didn't look like he was going to get up, but somehow he just about managed it, and he's shown great heart, you know, just to get up, and you know, durability sticking out the rest of the round, even though there's only like, I think, a few seconds left in the round, but he's shown great heart and, you know, durability throughout the fight. And that was the best thing about Kate Stevens. He proved a lot of people wrong. In my prediction, even I said, you know, if he makes it through the first 3 rounds, you know, I'm going to look at it as a moral victory for Kate Stevens, and that's how I look at it. You know, he proved a lot of people wrong, he's shown people that he's a lot tougher, and the only problem is, you know, the only problem that I can come up with is that it wasn't the physical kicking that Stevens is gonna dwell on in this fight, you know, because the physical kicking, I'd only rate that as a 7 out of 10 ass kicking. In all seriousness, that wasn't the most ass kicked someone's ever been in this, in like a, you know, boxing match. I've seen significantly worse this year, but the mental and spiritual aspects of Stevens losing this fight could signal the end of him at world level, unfortunately, because not only was he knocked down in this fight, and that's something he's never had to deal with before, which he sort of dealt with quite well considering he's never been down, even at light heavyweight and, you know, super middleweight and coming down to middleweight, where this was the first time he dealt with, you know, the knockdown. He had to deal with someone who was significantly a harder puncher than him, you know. But not only that, he got bashed up in there, you know. I mean, it was after that knockdown in round 2, to be honest, you know, after that, all the winning mentality pretty much drained out of Kate Stevens. He pretty much knew, you know, it was only a matter of time, and the best thing to do was for him just to try and survive, you know. At times in the 4th round, you know, Triple G even lowered his guard, just to try and, I think it was to draw Stevens out, and Stevens landed some good shots on Triple G, the type that would drop him, like his previous opponent, Saul Roman, and they didn't even make Triple G blink, and that was one of the mental aspects that's gonna, you know, really haunt Kate Stevens, because he came in as a big puncher, a guy who got a big puncher's chance, and he couldn't even make Triple G blink with his punching power, which suggests 2 things: either Triple G's got a chin of a god, which I don't think he does have, you know. I think he can be hurt, but any person can be hurt, you know. And Kate Stevens was just slightly overrated in the power aspect coming into this fight, and I think that's the more likely case, you know. But like I said, he dropped his guard, allowed Stevens to land a few shots, and he'd done that for 2 reasons: 1, to open Stevens up so he could, you know, try and hit him again, and 2, it broke his heart. It totally broke his heart. He realised he had no puncher's chance in this fight, and then all the winning mentality just left his body, you know. He refused to open up in the next round, and Triple G rightly adjusted, pretty much from the majority of his punches now to the body. At that point, you know, it was curtains. It was just how long before, you know, either he goes down again or he quits, or, you know, his corner pull him out. And it took him until the 8th. Basically, in the 8th round, Stevens just became really ragged in his defense. He was getting tagged upstairs to the head, he got tagged downstairs to the body, and he got tagged back upstairs to the head again. And if he went out for the 9th, there's only one way I look at it: he was going to get KO'd. It would have been curtains. So the corner and Stevens looked at each other and did the right thing. Enough is enough. There's no point you going to hospital tonight and staying there for a prolonged amount of time. So they called it a day. The end of the fight, Stevens, you know, he looked physically beaten up and mentally beaten up. his punching power just couldn't hit a guy at world level. So it's a long way back now for Curtis Stevens. I don't know where he goes from here. A few domestic fights, if it was me, you see, I wouldn't want to end on a loss, so I'd have a few domestic fights, and then if I get a shot at like Quillen, because Quillen likes recycling Golovkin's opponents, he should take that fight. Maybe he'd have a better chance against Quillen, but nah, I wouldn't worry about people like Martinez or anyone like that. He need not apply for jobs like that. Anyway, Triple G himself wants Sergio Martinez. Someone in Argentina who just shot themselves. I wonder if that fight would happen. It'd be a good fight, but, if it happens, it's a whole another story. Peter Quillen called out Triple G. However, I don't see that as a serious offer. Golden Boy won't allow it anyway. They need their man to make the money in the middleweight rankings, and I just don't see why they would want Triple G when Peter Quillen barely got past Gabe Rosado, who was forced to run and defend and give up all aspirations of winning a fight against Triple G himself. So I just don't see Peter Quillen being a legitimate opponent for Triple G right now. I think he's at least one level below Triple G, maybe even 2 or 3. Anyway, tell me what you thought about the fight. Don't forget to caption the photo, and I hope you had a good night watching the fight.